All right, so we're back after wrapping up March Madness, talking NFL update. We're gonna do a HSC podcast, top 10 mock draft, talk about who might be going where around the NFL. There's a few moves. I've seen some funny memes, to be honest, around the Joe Milton to the Cowboys. Everybody loves to throw in like Trey Lance in there and how he moved around from the 49ers to the Cowboys and like, what does it even mean? Like, what good does Joe Milton do in Dallas?
Well, they have one good quarterback on the roster.
Joe Milton? That's
I
funny.
no, it's just you never know. I mean, Cooper Rush was okay, but the upside you knew with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is a backup. He's a career backup. Um, Everybody likes Milton just because of the arm strength. I mean, it's actually. I mean, actually, it's. I was talking to a Cowboys fan here. You guys know who he is, and he was super excited about it. I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, he at least you have something to look forward to. I mean, you really have not much to look forward to when it comes to the Cowboys' future. I mean, I don't think he's going to be a starter, but you know what? If Dak goes down, I mean, who knows? Maybe he can, actually create some buzz and go out there and just play football instead of worrying about like because I guarantee you Dak worries about everything. He worries about his career. He worries about I'm not going to be a Cowboy much longer. It's like the clock's ticking for him. It's almost like people are like, okay, we'll get rid of him next year. It's like every year. It's like, yeah, we're not going to have him next year. And with Joe Milton, it's like, all right, let's see what this kid can do. There's some buzz, like
Yeah.
on the way he can throw the football. Everything else, I have no idea. I really haven't watched much of him. I didn't really watch him much, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good arm. But obviously untested in the NFL, not tested a lot in college.
No.
So what can he look like later in his NFL career? Who knows? Maybe, he does sit behind Dak for 2, 3 years and gets his chance.
For me, it's something must be going on because why would the Patriots dump him for what, a fifth? If you're supposed to be a quarterback that's supposed to be a good backup or a good spot starter, maybe even a starter at some point, why don't you hold on to him until you get more form? You don't see Detroit trading Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cowboys must have actively seeked him out, right? And said, hey, we want to put somebody behind Dak and we'll give you a fifth. And the Patriots probably were thinking, we've got, Drake May. So go ahead, take him.
Well, I heard is the variable was actively, he's like, okay, he needs to be gone by this date. So they wanted to get rid of him. That's why mine was like, why?
Yeah, it's interesting. Because Dak's going to the Steelers, getting
What do you
traded
mean?
to the Steelers.
Shador is going to find his way to the Steelers. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's interesting. The Steelers, they're still in this interesting situation, right? The Steelers buzz right now is what Aaron Rodgers visited,
Yeah, a week ago.
right? Like, what are they doing?
Wow.
They're just waiting on Rodgers or hopefully Shador, or they might, or someone falls to their lap in the draft.
Is the Steelers trading up a possibility?
It could be, but think about it. Like I said, it's Tomlin will still make the playoffs. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback.
Unless it's Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, well,
Makes the playoffs and lose the first round like every year.
yeah, it's still better than not making it, right?
But you got the fan base is tired of it. Yeah. They haven't been to a Super Bowl in 14 years. Yeah. And when your defense, you do have a championship defense to a certain extent, and you have some weapons on offense. You got you need quarterback. I mean, Cody Pickett didn't. That was one of the worst picks, first round picks. When you're like, hey, you know what, Cody Pickett's going to be our future.
I mean, that was a
How'd that
bad
work?
draft for quarterbacks, though.
Yeah,
It was him or Malik Willis.
Right.
Malik can still be good.
And they should have just took nobody.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because what Mason Rudolph started a lot of the season.
Yeah,
But that's
Right.
the thing is, that's why people need to stop getting after Tomlin. Why don't you go after the GM of the Steelers?
well, remember what I said is I said this a week ago. It's two-way street. Tomlin might be getting sick of it. He might be getting sick of the GM. He's like, you're not giving me. You're giving. I. It's kind of like the whole Don Shula thing, where it's like, okay, this is what you gave me. I can get the most out of it. He can't get enough out of the roster that he has offensively. So he might be saying, dude, I can go anywhere else. There's so many teams right now that need a coach. There's always teams that need a coach. And I'm better than these guys. Why am I staying here? Why do I get ridiculed by the fan base when I go to the playoffs every year? I've won a Super Bowl. I've been to two Super Bowls. It's like I'm ridiculed for going to the playoffs. He's probably getting sick of it.
Well, and then TJ Watt on Instagram posted a picture of himself with a peace sign, like deuces, like I'm out.
That
So
that'd be
those,
bad for the Steelers.
it's
Oh yeah,
he's in his last year of his contract, so he might be pulling a Myles Garrett, being like, "You need to pay
Yeah.
me."
pay me. Yeah, it's yeah.
Or
Yeah,
you need TJ Watt to move up in the draft to get a quarterback.
maybe that's the goal, right? Maybe they trade TJ Watt for Dak.
Dude, what is going on here? Are we in a parallel universe and we're gonna trade TJ Watt for Dak Prescott?
Gosh.
Well, he's leaving anyway. Like you might as
Are
well
they
get
gonna
some
are they
for
gonna pick up Elliott off of waivers too?
him. They literally have the same salary.
Yeah, well, TJ Watt might be a better football player than Dak Prescott.
It's use him or lose him.
I don't know. But I guess if you're that desperate, which they basically are that desperate, I don't think they want Rodgers. They don't have another option but Rodgers.
Well, at this
It's
point, it's getting kind of late in the game to
yeah,
not be like we're going to get a later quarterback right now.
yeah. I mean, they almost have to trade. I mean, honestly, that's TJ Watt is trade bait in a sense. Like, who doesn't want TJ Watt? Especially if I was the Cowboys, I'd be like, oh, we'll give you TJ Watt for Dak Prescott. I'd be like, it's already done.
Tennessee,
It's already done. The TJ Watt is in Dallas.
they could go to Tennessee. Hey, take TJ Watt
I'm
to
starting
for
Milton.
number one.
Yeah, that's not happening. But the thing is yeah, gosh, the Cowboys would be smart because if they could do that trade, and then they still could end up with Shador.
Yeah.
Fedor, and then they have the Doomsday 3 defense.
Well, no, yeah, that's incredible. With Parsons and Watt, that'd be
Yeah,
nuts.
Parsons and TJ Watt. Dude, that's madness.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
Watt's just going to end up on the Eagles somehow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that wouldn't
And for
surprise
like
me
a
either.
fourth round pick.
So, nothing really else to talk about transaction wise in the NFL. Case Keenum did go to the Bears, I guess. They way overpaid for him, but now they have their experienced backup.
He'll be starting.
But yeah, so let's move from transactions free agency because draft's coming up, and this is something that we're just going to start talking about the NFL draft. But there's a lot of questions up here in the top 10. For this, let's just assume there is no trades.
Yeah.
Let's move through the top 10 and just talk about the picks so we can get our top 10 here. So Tennessee number one. The consensus seems to be Cam Ward. I agree with that. I think Tennessee should take a shot at quarterback. I don't think Cam Ward's a bad shot to take. He's probably a 70-30 guy. 70% he's going to be a decent to good quarterback. 30, he might be a bust. So at that point, I think Tennessee, you've had so much struggles with the quarterback. My opinion would be stick with Cam Ward.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. You haven't had really a quarterback since McNair. You need a quarterback. Uh, Going to Tennessee, you don't have the pressure to, he can sit there, learn the system. He's gonna start, but it's a good place probably for him to go. I think there's still teams out there that are like, we really need a quarterback, but we're really not sold on this guy overall. We don't really know a lot about him. We know he can throw the football, but a lot of guys have been able to throw the football and they just didn't pan out. And so what you see on tape, you see some elite arm talent, and you kind of there's a big question mark. So going to Tennessee, it's not like going to the Giants where it's like, oh my God, the pressure. You gotta be. I mean, the pressure's on. You go to the Giants or a major market, the Jets. It's a good place for him to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I like the he'll have the ability to grow and learn and not be worried about losing his job right away.
Yeah, I got Cam.
What's your thoughts, Derek?
Well, yeah, it's going to be Cam Ward. I love Cam Ward. Don't get me wrong. I just think Tennessee needs a lot more, and so they could get a quarterback in another draft. And I would rather them take Abdul Carter, but they're going to take Cam Ward.
No chance they don't take Abdul Carter.
I don't think so now. I think it's pretty evident. I mean, Shador canceled, they like mutually canceled the like meeting between the two because they're like,
Right.
yeah, we're going to take a quarterback already, and it's not you, it's Cam Ward.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people are in that consensus. So, we got to agree there. So number two, you got the Browns. This is, man, I'd like to say that there's a lot of questions around this, but I mean, you just re-signed Myles Garrett. Don't you want to get him some help on the other side?
Yeah, I would say Abdul Carter.
I mean, that's when I say help on the other side. I'm obviously talking
Yeah,
Abdul Carter.
you're talking about Travis Hunter. And I mean, as far as like, I mean, actually, it's both sides to a certain extent, even though he's not going to play every down. Like everyone's like, oh, he can play every down.
No, no. You think
No,
you think Browns would take Travis Hunter?
I think there's a decision. You have a camp that wants Carter and you have a camp that wants Hunter. They're sitting in that war room and they're like, you know, and they're going back and forth about it. The thing about Hunter is you need offense. You need a playmaker. Of course, you don't have a quarterback yet, but the thing about Hunter is I would sprinkle him in situations on defense. He's a ball hawk. He's gonna go after the football. I wouldn't leave him on an island per se, but he's playing in certain situations in a nickel and a dime off the ball. I think he have 4 or 5 interceptions and have 800 yards receiving. It's just he's a playmaker in offense. I just I kind of wonder about his durability overall when you're playing the NFL. He's not the biggest dude in the world.
I mean,
That
I've seen mocks where people have him going to Cleveland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean Abdul Carter though is a safe pick, even though they did, you know, you know, they do have Miles Garrett
You
signed
take a
up.
lot of pressure off of Myles Garrett though when you put Abdul Carter on the
Yeah,
other side.
And you
Yeah.
have the pressure is off of Abdul Carter because you go in with Miles Garrett's already the number one
Right.
Yeah.
pass rusher. You're not going to get double teamed. And just think when we were talking about, oh, if TJ Watt was with Micah Parsons, think about Abdul Carter with Miles Garrett.
Right.
Yeah. I think if I was gonna say probably 55 to 60% they'll take Abdul Carter. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little more almost positive Cleveland goes with Abdul Carter. I don't because look, you Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So you're not rebuilding the Cleveland team with this pick. But what you are doing is you're helping stabilize your defense. Eventually, defense can win you games, help you win games, and you worry about a quarterback next year. Maybe you take one later in the draft if there's a good one available, but at this point, like really kind of just build your core.
Well, yeah, I mean, they got one of the top second round picks, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you can get either you trade back into the first if like Dart falls, or you stay in the second and you get Milrow.
Because
Or
they're in that sweet spot for Dart. It depends what if his stock's really risen that much. I don't even if it has, there's a lot of teams like you got the Steelers that need a quarterback. That's a given. But they could land, I mean, they can get Abdul Carter and they can get Dart.
yeah,
And
it's a
I've
possibility.
done enough mocks and it comes up.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So a little bit of Hunter, more Abdul Carter. Giants at number three. With Ward and Carter gone, that this makes the Giants pick more interesting. What do you guys think? Like, what's your number one pick here for the Giants?
I got them taking Hunter. They need playmakers. They got Malik Neighbors, so that's great. So then you can have Hunter come in sparingly, play receiver, but play core. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to be the number one receiver because you already got Malik Neighbors. What was the thing with the Giants a few years ago? They had no playmakers, right?
Yeah.
So just get them more playmakers on offense or defense.
Well, they've already kind of committed that they're not, quarterback's not their number one priority by getting Wilson and Jameis.
Right.
I mean, it's not like they're the greatest, but you've kind of solidified your quarterback room,
Right. Yeah, you don't sign both of them.
right? To then go draft one. So, I mean, I don't, Travis Hunter is not a horrible pick there. I think they take Will Campbell because one, you got to get some protection, but it's more of also the reason that Cleveland takes Carter because they're going to build a nucleus in their defense. Will Campbell can be that nucleus on your offensive line, and linemen go early, and people like, teams like to go after big name linemen, and Campbell's really good. So that'd be my number one pick, though. Although I do like, what you're saying about Hunter because he does give them a lot of versatility on both sides of the ball.
And it's New York. So you're going to get, you want flashy.
Yeah, Will Campbell is not flashy.
Yeah.
What do you think, Wes? What do you think's their number one pick here at three?
I got to go with Hunter too, even though I think Will Campbell is, that's a solid pick. I just think it's it's hard to pass up on Hunter just because of the playmaking ability on both sides. And yeah, the Giants need a splash. The Giants are just they just haven't done anything in so long that, you know, you I mean, Russell Wilson is not a splash, let's put it that way. He's going to probably be your starter. So you got to give him all the help that he's going to need
Yeah, can
to
you give
to
him
not just
enough
be an
help though?
average quarterback.
Like, how much help do you got to give to make Russell Wilson look good again?
Well, think about how entertaining that team would be if they start Jameis with
Right.
Hunter and Neighbors.
I think Jameis will eventually start. Russell's going to start, and then they're going to be like, "What are we doing?" I mean, all Russell Wilson does is come up with slogans for every team he goes for. Let's go Big Blue. That's the first thing he said when he became a New York Giants. I'm like, really? Like that's what you do now? Did Sierra make that up for you? I mean, let's
It's
go
Russell
Big
Wilson.
Blue. Like like
Wait a
like
minute. Now, who's the hater of Russell Wilson now?
dude, he is not on the all hate team. He's not on. He might be third team all hate on my team, but not first
Yeah.
team. But it's just like they need it. Travis Hunter. I will not be shocked if he drops a little, and they do go Will Campbell. But is there any chance it's Shador? I don't think it is. So that should be another question. Like,
That is a
okay,
question
but
because Shadur is going to be available there.
wouldn't you rather like get Travis Hunter and then see if Shador drops and then move up and get
Yeah,
Shador?
maybe try to trade back.
Wouldn't that be funny if Shador was on the Giants too? Shador throwing to Travis Hunter.
Yeah, you got to
That'd
get
be
back into the
wild.
top 10 for that, though.
Well, you
I don't
don't
know.
know.
Some people have said he drops.
They
Yeah,
think if the Saints don't pick him, he's gonna drop.
right.
And that's not a guarantee. The Saints might trade down. Like, you know what? We like Dart. Why don't we, it's like what are we picking here? It's
So Shadur falls to the Cowboys.
or the he or yeah, or the aren't they 12th? Are
I
they
mean,
12th?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. 49ers ain't taking him. Bears ain't taking him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big possibility that Shador falls to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
Ugh.
And then you trade Dak Prescott for
For
TJ Watt.
for TJ Watt. Oh man. All right. Well, let's get back. So three, uh, you guys, Travis Hunter, which I think is very viable, right? If I'm them, my pick's Will Campbell, but I agree. They need some help up there. So four, which makes it weird for me because I got you have to take Travis Hunter there if you're the Patriots. He's available.
Right. Well,
I
that's
mean,
why I
there's
picked Will Campbell.
yeah. Well, I mean, do the Patriots take Will Campbell, or let's say Travis Hunter's gone? So if Travis Hunter's there for me, number one, Travis Hunter, got to take him. But let's
Yeah.
say he's not there. Will Campbell, Mason Graham becomes a bit of a decision for the Patriots.
Well, I think you got to take Campbell because you got to protect Drake May. They did a lot already on their defense. I mean,
Yeah.
they got Milton Williams and Spillane and um I don't know, there was more players too. I think they spent most of their free agency on defense, except they did get Diggs, right?
Yeah.
So I think, maybe because it's Vrabel, he'll take Mason Graham. But I think what it is you saw the GM saw what happened to Drake May last year, and you gotta improve that offensive line.
So we're flipped here. You got Will Campbell, and then I got Travis Hunter going the opposite ways. Where are you at there, Wes?
I'm with Campbell too. Yeah, you got to protect Drake May. Um, and it's at that pick, I don't think they go anywhere. They've shored up their defense. They got some weapons. And again, this is not a 1 year fix here. That's, you got to shore up, you got to build that offensive line, the nucleus inside out. And, he needs a personal protector. Will Campbell is that guy
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah, you look at their line, it's weak right now. They do look like they're set up to draft Campbell. But I think like I mean some reason the Giants take Will Campbell, which I think they might. Like, I don't know if you might not have that option.
Well, then it would be maybe then at Membu.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is that's a bit of a stretch at that pick because again, if Campbell's not there, that means Hunter's there.
Yeah.
So you have to take Hunter.
You can't let him go to Jacksonville.
No.
Well, I no, seriously, that popped in my head. Like, could he actually fall in Jacksonville? You know,
That's
The
a
only,
long way.
the only thing I could think of is if you don't have a primary position, you have no position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that might be what teams are thinking. I'm like, what are we going, if we're evaluating him playing just one position, are we drafting him as a corner or as a receiver that high in the draft?
Yeah. Is he a top five pick? It's a question. It's a valid question too. Especially because now you're in the NFL. Like so different than college, right? You're taking a 100%, 200% leap.
And he says he's gonna still wants to play every down.
Yeah. Okay. So with those four gone, no matter which order they go in, now Jacksonville's on the clock. Um, I think there's probably two choices, right? You either take line or you take offensive line or defensive line.
Yeah, I think they take best player available and take Mason Graham
Mason Graham.
because they need a lot. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at where they're at. I mean, what do you think? Where are you at with that, Wes?
I I think it's the one of those two Michigan players, either Graham or it's Will Johnson. Um, I would lean toward more Graham, but
Yeah, that's a little early for Will Johnson. But they don't look horrible on the defensive line.
yeah, I mean,
Where they
maybe
do
pair
look,
Graham with Walker.
yeah. But man, they do need a corner.
yeah, they mocked Will Johnson, still top 10. Like one of them is going to the Saints.
Well, I've heard a lot that the Raiders like him.
I don't think you can pass up on Mason Graham, though, personally. I think he's one of the best overall players in the draft, like top bottom. And so if he's available at five, I gotta think that Jacksonville at least is smart enough to do that.
Well, here's the sleeper, Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
saw.
did just get rid of what's his name? Evan Ingram,
Yeah.
right? He's gone.
Yep. Ooh, what is that mock there? Oh, they drop and get Tyler. And this one, they drop and San Francisco gets their fifth pick. They drop and to the 11th pick and get Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Jacksonville's a good place for a trade out.
Yeah. What
Because
the
they need
Cowboys
anything. They
company
need
threw
everything.
Well, and then here's one that I was thinking of. Your Bears trading ahead of the Raiders to get Genty.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, that's a viable possibility because so here's the thing. Let's say
don't give me any ideas.
we all agree Jacksonville takes Mason Graham. That leaves the Raiders at six.
Right.
And I don't know why they wouldn't take Genty at six.
Well, being a Raider fan, I'm cautionally optimistic, but never ever does it seem like, oh, the guy that they should take, do they take?
Right.
So, okay, you got Genty there. We also have Shador. You have Tatoria McMillan, and you have Will Johnson. All players that they've been connected to. But me personally, I'm taking Genty. I mean, if you're talking best player available, you take Genty.
Man, isn't this a good time though? Like to sneak in and grab Shadur?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Shador. The only issue I have is you got Gino for at least 2 more years. Is
Yeah.
Shador going to sit for 2 years?
2 years? You
No,
mean
I mean, I don't think even
Well,
so. Let's say you get Shadur, right? He, you, Gino or Shadur sits for the first 10 games at minimum, and then you evaluate where you're at as a team. If Gino has you in the playoffs, then you roll with Gino, right? But if he doesn't, now you put in Shadur and prime him for next season.
right.
But at that point, though, like when do you have a chance to get a quarterback as good as Shadur as the Raiders going forward?
Well, that's the Giants. They didn't. If they don't take him, right? I mean,
Well, they're going to get a top three pick next year again anyway.
well, think about it though. When was the last time you saw a back like Genty?
Oh no, I agree that Genty is by far the best back in this draft, and yeah, you haven't seen one come out in a long time.
No,
But
but I
you
get you.
really, really need a quarterback.
Well, I mean, Gino, it's not
Well,
bad.
at some point though,
Yeah, I
like a
mean,
long term.
I feel like it's 3 year thing with Carroll. And what they're trying to do is build up the team so after 3 years, then you can hand it off to someone else. I don't think they're taking Shador. I think they could take like Milrow or Howard or someone else later, because they need impact players now. Because whoever, if they take Shador, he's not going to make an impact.
you take Milrow and you run a read option?
Yeah, I
GMT and
mean,
Milrow. Read option.
That's
Stop sign.
brutal. I mean, I have Genty going to the Raiders. Like I said, I think they'd be silly not to take him, but there is an argument for Shadur to be had.
and I hate to say it because I still think it's early, but Will Johnson.
Yeah. Well, the further down we go, the more viable Will Johnson comes in these picks to me.
Yeah. But I could also see a thing where all this Genty is noise and to get the Bears to trade with them.
Right.
Because wouldn't it be if the Raiders really liked Will Johnson, they might like him a lot better at 10
Oh,
with
of course you would,
yeah.
because you can get him at 10.
Yeah.
Well, unless the Jets take him at 7. So Jets, I mean, I think the consensus I've seen and everything, I think the Jets have already sold themselves on O line at this pick.
Why not?
Um,
I have him taking Shador. Why not? It's like you really think Justin Fields is the answer?
yeah,
It's not like they went out and got two quarter, but they just got Justin Fields. And if Shador, I don't think they thought that Shador would be available at 7.
right. So they went and got Justin Fields.
Yeah. But that's what Dion, think about that. I have Travis Hunter at the Giants, Shador at the Jets. Boom.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if Shadur starts dropping, I feel like a lot of times they just keep dropping.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's not a horrible place. You're in a quarterback competition for the first spot, right? It's not guaranteed yours if you go there, but you have a good chance of winning the position. But then again, you run into that problem then if you don't get line, you don't start securing the line, those guys are running for their lives.
But how often can you get a franchise quarterback, Steve?
I mean, it's true. That's why
Just
I said
use
it.
the Raiders got Geno Smith, who's been to a Pro Bowl and stuff, and you're saying get Shador, but you're not saying Jets, who don't have Justin Fields, who's on his third team.
Look, I'll take Fields over Geno Smith.
How'd that work? Field or Geno Smith made the playoffs, Fields didn't.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I'll say about Fields and the Jets, there is zero expectations for him. And you do have some weapons. And here, you actually might even think about get McMillan because then you got him opposite and you just run and gun. I mean, Fields just all I'm going to do. We're not even going to worry about running the football. He's going to run the. We're just going to run the ball and throw the ball. We're just going to see what he can do in one season. Can he play football? Can he throw the football and run the football consistently? You know.
How many touchdowns did he have for Pittsburgh before he got
But
benched?
here's the thing:
He's like
Pittsburgh.
4-2 or 5-2.
No. Pittsburgh was the wrong place because they are a run first. They are a run first defensive football team. The Jets are nothing. The Jets have no
The
identity.
Jets are nothing.
They are nothing. It's like, okay, here's the football. Let's go Willie Seaman Beeman. He's gonna Willie Seaman Beeman it, or he's gonna suck. You're gonna find out very quickly whether he can play or not. Shador actually might not be a bad option here because you know you've already moved Fields around so much anyways. Again, two quarterbacks having Shador on the roster. Um, are we doing trade outs?
Well, I mean, they're not a bad team to trade down either, right?
The Cowboys to 7 and get Shador.
Yeah.
So the Saints don't get him.
That's an interesting, again, we're not,
We're not doing
predicting
trade
trade
outs,
outs, but I don't think the Jets are a bad team to look at that would trade
but
back.
I think realistically it's Mimbu here.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
Well,
the
that's who they're heavy on right now. They've been, and you look at their history of drafting recently, they're taking a lot of young offensive linemen to try to build that core.
yeah.
But, I mean, that's so, they're coming out picking Shadur. That's bold.
You can't be like they drafted a lineman, a tackle last year in the
Yeah.
first 10 picks. You got to give him time to succeed.
Right.
You don't need to keep just drafting another lineman. They already got one. Let him go out there and succeed or fail.
Well,
Shoot,
and yeah, they got one the year before, and
they had Becton and they let him go. Oh, look, he went and he was an awesome guard from the Super Bowl, the Eagles.
I mean, maybe. I mean, that might be the pick of the draft. Shadur to the Jets. Carolina, I mean, who cares? But what do you think they're going to take?
I got McMillan going there.
Yeah, I think the only other person that I think they could be looking at would be like Walker because
Yeah.
they need some defense. But if you don't give, your quarterback someone to throw the ball to, because they do not have great receivers. Adam Thielen was saving them last year. Bryce Young, like literally carrying him on his back. So you got to give him a weapon. So I like McMillan, but I also think Walker's a great option because, you can't go wrong with Georgia defense, apparently.
I think he's penciled in to go to the Eagles, right? Somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, we can't draft him. He's going to the Eagles. He's going to
Really?
drop 22 spots. Let's see, Wes, what do you think here for the Panthers?
I think McMillan the best available. They and Panthers need as many weapons for Bryce Young if he survives the season this year. Yeah, so the Panthers, to talk about the Panthers, I think we're just kind of waiting.
I mean, he looked good. Bryce Young did look better, a lot
But
better in the second half of the
they
season.
looked okay. I mean, they have some things. McMillan might actually make them win 6 games or 7 games. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, not this year, but
yeah.
so the Saints, what's interesting here is because Derek has Shadur gone here, where a lot of people have Shadur going to the Saints.
Hmm.
If he's there, do the Saints take Shadur Sanders? or give him to the Cowboys?
I I honestly I think that's a good place for number one him to go because I still think he can. There's no pressure. Again, the Saints are nothing, just like the Jets, just like the Titans. Down there, at least it's not unbearable to be in New Orleans, I guess, and playing football there. You're in the NFC South. I mean, it's just not that strong of a conference, and it won't be for probably for another a year or two. You got Derek Carr there. He's not going to be there forever. I don't think they're too hot on Derek Carr down there. And I mean, he could play next year. I think it's plausible they're going to pick him. I think it's good for him. I just don't know if the Saints really want him.
Well, because you have Carr.
You got Carr. You could trade down and you can get Dart if you really want a quarterback.
Well, they have Rattler.
Yeah, you got Rattler too.
Well,
Rattler's not a whole lot different than Dart.
Jackson. Yeah.
right.
So I mean, Shadir Sanders, that's an interesting quandary there, but if he is gone, then you may have Memba or Walker,
Jalen Walker. I mean,
right? Where the Saints are the kind of team that would take Jalen Walker 100%.
I got him taking Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren, huh?
Well, dude, it's because of Brock Bowers, right? Now
Yeah,
you're gonna be like, oh man, we'll give Carr or whoever a weapon for their offense because last year what they had looked like very good, and then all of a sudden they fell off because Olave got hurt, Shaheed got hurt, Carr
right.
got hurt. I mean, they didn't have much. Taysom Hill got hurt. They didn't have the weapons.
Well, they don't have a tight end. I mean, you got Hill, he's just too old.
Well, it's
And
Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau right now.
right, and both of them are not
They're
great.
serviceable. They're
Right.
okay.
No, yeah, they're not great tight ends. Wow, okay. I mean, I thought Shadur falls and they take him. I think the Saints is a good place, and I think they would Dion would be happy, Shadur would be happy to go there. Saints fans are less brutal than New York fans. They
yeah,
love their team, they love their quarterbacks, no matter good or bad.
it's you don't the spotlight is not as bright.
Right.
You go to the Cowboys, you go to the Giants, the Jets, um, or even the Raiders. There's not the pressure for him there. I think Dion would like that. I just don't. You, I mean, the temptation is why do we stay at 9? We can trade down and get a quarterback if we really want one. Maybe this isn't the draft class we want a quarterback. We still got Derek Carr.
Right.
It's just the jury's out of what they really want to do. But man, he's going to follow you guys, and you're not going to take him. I mean, it's bad enough the Raiders don't take him. He falls.
Or the Jets, apparently, because we got them
Yeah.
at 9 now. We have Shadur already. we're dropping him fast.
He's going to the Niners, and they're not going to pay Purdy.
That would be smart.
No,
And that's
I mean
what we would
at
do.
this point, if
I'm not
Shadur
paying
doesn't
Purdy.
take him,
I think they should start this 49ers should start a trend. Okay, you know what? We're not. That's nice. We'll pay you this much if you actually get us to a Super Bowl. You don't do
But
that. Sorry, we're gonna draft a quarterback.
the Niners trade Purdy to the Cowboys for the 12th pick, so then they had 11 and 12.
well, I mean Saints could drop back to with the Cowboys. Cowboys could come up, and then the Saints, they drop back and take maybe Golden.
Dude, if Mel Kiper's listening to us, he's gonna be like, "These guys are idiots."
Yeah, because he knows so much.
He's like changing his mock draft. What?
Uh, the Tyler Warren's an interesting pick though.
It's the Brock Bowers effect. Now,
Yeah.
ones are like, oh man, we can
Huh.
take a tight end early.
Right. Well, and he's going to be a possession tight end. He's going to catch a lot of footballs, help Olave, take some pressure off there. So that's interesting. So 10, Bears, everybody, this is where you might take a Tyler Warren if he's available. Ben Johnson wants as many weapons as he can get. And Tyler Warren would fit into a Ben Johnson offense. Even if you have a Cole Kmet, it doesn't matter. So he fits in there. I mean, ideally, Genty's still available, but we gave him up to the Raiders.
I saw a mock and I would be like, I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, Steve would destroy this. Had the Bears taken Hampton.
Oh no, come on.
Oh yeah, and then I forgot this other one. I didn't even read. I turned it off. I'm like, this is stupid. Had him taken Henderson.
Dude, they're more likely to take Will Johnson.
Yeah. For me, because yeah, I think you've already given him up, but I have Membu here.
Yeah. Which wouldn't be a horrible pick for the Bears. I think they just did so much building to the offensive line. It's time to, put another guy in of a skill position.
Yeah. Because I also could see Walker there too.
I wouldn't mind Walker at all. Like if Walker was still there, I think Walker goes earlier, but if he's still there, I'd be happy to have him at 10. So, and I don't think you had Walker being drafted yet, did you?
No.
Yeah, so in your mock draft, that's an ideal pick for the Bears at 10 is Walker.
Yeah.
Well, and I probably have Walker. No, I've done about 15 mock drafts.
It's his March Madness
With
season.
your 30 brackets.
And I could, they still let me use the app and stuff. So, but I got Jalen Walker there too. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I wouldn't also if Tyler Warren falls,
yeah.
I could see definitely Ben Johnson saying I need a guy like Tyler Warren to expand my offense because he loves to run that two tight end, a lot of guys in the routes, things like that. All right. Well, I mean, we weren't consensus, but I think we were pretty close on most of the picks there. I think probably the biggest lock for me is Cam Ward at number 1 and Genty at 6 to the Raiders.
I don't know. I got a bad feeling it's all smoke and mirrors and they're going to take someone else.
Those are my 2 locks. So, what are a couple locks for you, Derek?
I would say Ward at 1, and I'm just going to say lock is Hunter at 3 to the
Hunter at
Giants.
3 to the Giants. Wes, you got a couple locks?
Um, boy, I got Cam Ward at 1. I think that's a lock. I got McMillan going to Carolina at 8.
Yeah, that's a really big possibility.
Yeah, it's just he's there and no one's got him. It's just why don't you get him?
You just don't know his ceiling is the thing with McMillan.
Yeah.
Like he could be, the next big receiver.
I mean, there's a mock here that had the Giants moving up to 7 to get McMillan. You got another mock, the Raiders getting McMillan.
Mhm.
It's like if he gets past 7, it's like he's there. And you're Carolina. What else do you have going for you?
Yeah.
You need a playmaker. You need to make Bryce Young feel comfortable for once in his life. Like, oh, what do I do? I'll just throw it to this monument of a wide receiver. That's
A monument. He's a statue.
He's a statue.
I know we're speculating, but wouldn't that be a good place for the Cowboys to trade up to?
Yeah.
I think we've talked. You know what? We sound like ESPN. We sound like First Take. Now we're just talking about the Cowboys here.
I know, huh?
I feel like
Now
I
we
feel
got to be
like,
like Stephen A. because we all hate the Cowboys.
I
Well,
feel like-
everybody
I feel
wants
like
to talk about a
Otto.
train wreck.
I feel like Otto right now.
Yeah.
You have to talk about the Cowboys today.
Well,
Again,
they're part of it. I mean, they're not in the top 10 technically, but we'll see what they do. We know that they're going to screw it up one way or another.
yeah.
All right, so we'll wrap NFL update there. Come back with weekly movie review and wrap up our Val Kilmer tribute here.